And we are live. It's Whiskey Watches and Wheels, and I am the phenomenal Matt Green. Fellas, introduce yourselves.
I'm Casey.
I'm Kevin.
And if you notice, James is not here tonight, feeling a little under the weather. We wish him well. Hopefully he makes it.
I didn't listen to those notes he said. How did he sound?
Like Barry White?
Like Barry White, smooth and sexy. Well, and I get concerned because, when you have elderly people that start getting ill, they oftentimes they don't make it, and so we might
get vertical.
Vertical. So we might get a phone call, hey, we got a funeral to go to. You never know, so I, hopefully wishing for the best,
You should actually listen to them because I almost pissed my pants with one of them.
Dude, it was funny as shit. Hold on a second.
No, don't play him. You can't play him.
Oh, I can play him.
Yeah, I know, but
yeah, I can play him. So, but yeah, it's very deep, very smooth, silky voice. Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about liquor because we haven't done any liquor talk in quite a while. We've been focusing on cars and watches, and so we're going to do some liquor. And since I'm the one that doesn't drink, you're not going to hear it from me. But Casey's got some stuff he wants to go over. Kevin's got stuff we want to go over. So, fellas, jump in? Who wants to start?
Casey with his White Claw or whatever that is.
This is a High Noon. Thank you. This is a tequila seltzer.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's on par.
There you go. I guess I can start. Doing something a little different today because it's hot outside. It's I'm not always in the mood for bourbons. Even though a bourbon and ginger I think is a great hot weather drink. Sometimes you want something different. And it seems anymore that tequila is getting super popular. And I've never really experienced any good tequila. I am probably a historical loser college kid that just drank Jose Cuervo. Why are you laughing, Kevin?
You know why I'm laughing. You know exactly.
Listen,
I know, but Casey knows why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
I've had the Patron and the Don Julios and those.
Hey, Casey, do you sip it?
Cabo Wabo, man.
Yes, you do. Just sip tequila. It's very good.
Casey. You got to give a backstory because that's.
I don't want to give a backstory.
Because I'm lost here. I don't know what's going on.
You're not gonna get in trouble, are you, Casey?
I'm sure. I get in trouble for everything. So what's it matter?
Nobody listens to the shit. Don't worry about it.
So, Casey's wife was talking about Casey drinking tequila, and goes, "Who the hell sips tequila?" And Casey's like, "Everybody sips tequila. Kevin sips tequila." So Erin goes to me. I think we're in St. Augustine. She goes, "Hey, Kevin, do you sip tequila?" And tells me a story, and I go, "Why would it be me that I sip tequila? Because I'm Mexican? Is that what it is?" And so I'm like, "No, it is very popular. I'm just not a tequila drinker." So, and she's like, "Yeah." So I guess my wife tells Ashley, "I don't think Kevin sips tequila, but it's funny that you say that. Call Casey a racist." So, and yesterday, I only have, I think, one bottle of tequila, and Erin goes, "Hey, go get I think we have Jose Cuervo for some margaritas." So I go in the liquor cabinet, and I'm digging through it, and all I have is, what is it, 1925 or
1800?
No, not 1800. 1925, I think.
Okay,
I gotta look at my picture. It's pretty expensive. So it's in a cylinder. Clearly know nothing about tequila. So I have it, and I put it in a liqueur, and I'm sipping it, and I have it next to me in the on my couch. And she takes a picture of it. So and then my daughter takes a picture of it and sends it to I guess all my employees. And
Oh God!
Hey, how were you? How was yesterday sipping on tequila? I'm like, how does everybody know this? So it was pretty funny.
That is funny.
Well, all I'm saying is that learning to sip tequila is different than bourbon, but it's still the same principle. Anyhow, so I bought my first, I think, real bottle of tequila, and it's Tequila Ocho. So I had to do some digging about what. Well, I thought it might be fun to talk about what really is a tequila versus, say, a mezcal, and how it kind of follows kind of in line with bourbons, and kind of there's not as many rules for bourbon, but certainly, or for tequila, but there's certainly some. And so I guess the basic thing is tequila has got to be made in Jalisco, Mexico, in that region to be a real tequila. It's got to be at least 51% blue agave, which I think, as far as I've learned, all the good ones are 100%. So that was kind of in line with what, bourbons are, at least 51% corn. Blanco is, of course, immediately bottled after distillation. Reposado, which this one is a reposado. It's 2 to 12 months in an oak barrel. And then there's the añejo, which is 1 to 3 years in a barrel. I've never had an añejo, but anyhow, this tequila is fantastic. I learned a little bit about the distiller, which is Carlos Camarena. I can't pronounce anything on this podcast, but he's a 5th gen agave farmer, 3rd generation distiller. They add nothing to this, so there's no artificial products, sweeteners, colors, etc., etc. So it's pure, which is obviously what we look for in a bourbon. And he's got a pretty nice Instagram page. You can see he's a family guy. He's an older gentleman, but the tequila, which is the most important part, fantastic. I've got some tasting notes here. Again, I'm not a champ in being able to pick out all these flavors, so I get some help. But if you nose it, you certainly get real strong, like sweet agave. This talks about honey and oranges. I don't know about that. Maybe oranges, maybe some citrus. It also mentions black pepper, vanilla, star anise. I don't get that stuff, but I'm not very good at this. On the palate, though, you don't get like the cheap tequila, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like, when you take that Jose Cuervo shot and you just want to spit it out and you have to chase it with a lime. That's not this. This is smooth. It's incredibly good. The tasting notes reach sweet agave, honey, cinnamon, vanilla, cardamom. Those are some flavors that I'm not real familiar with, but certainly vanilla and honey, I get that, and of course agave. It's just really good. The finish is light, like it's not super long. This talks about minerality. I don't really know what that means, honestly. I would say like earthy, but I don't get that. I just think it's a nice smooth agave type finish. But anyhow, this tequila is fantastic. It's not something I would make a margarita with because it's so good. I'd go with something cheaper. And if you pick it up, I think you'd be really happy and surprised that you can drink this by itself on some ice, drink it neat, however you want to, and have a different experience than you can do with a bourbon. Certainly over ice, out on the back porch, something like that, it's going to be fantastic. The color probably doesn't come through very well here. Blanco is like crystal clear water. This has some tint to it.
Because it's like light amber.
Yeah, it's super light. Like, I would say it hasn't spent much time in a barrel. What I say, 2 months is the minimum. I'm not going to say that it's exactly 2 months, but it can't be too much time because it just doesn't have very much color. But it does have some of that oaky like smell. So, anywho, super, super excited about this one. I think
what's the that's 100% blue agave?
100% blue agave, and it is 40 proof.
So I have quite a bit of friends that actually drink agave tequila, and they tell me that you don't get hangovers with it, but it has to be 100% proof, because 100% pure agave, blue agave, because something with the chemical in your body breaks down, and everyone that I do talk to that drinks these tequilas and just sips them, not adding sugars, not adding, not having a The big thing
Margarita?
here is no. The big thing here, believe it or not, what a lot of people are doing is the espresso martinis, but with
Yeah.
tequila.
Interesting.
That's what a lot of people here drink in Florida, and it's a very popular drink, anyways. The espresso martinis, but they're doing it with tequila. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan because, like many of you and all the other people, we've all gotten probably drunk off of 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3
Yeah.
tequila floor.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And yesterday, when I was sipping that Don Julio 1942, that's what it was. I smelled like a lot of the honey, and it smelled very sweet. And then I was drinking it, sipping on it. But as I got more and more down towards my glass, I was like, no, I just maybe it was coming back in my head. But yeah, they are. There's a couple bars in St. Augustine that are Mexican. Actually, they're Mexican restaurants. So they have a lot of tequilas, and
It's
I don't know,
certainly on trend right now.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of margaritas, so that's a normal drink I would make to sit out on the back porch. But as you say, like you're drinking all the lime and the
Mhm.
Cointreau or whatever is in there, all the sugar added, and that's not exactly what you want. Now, I can't, as you're saying, I can't say that just drinking straight tequila won't give me a hangover because I've never done that. It's always been, shots of Cuervo and margaritas and, all that sort of jazz. So I am curious to see how this plays out. I don't think this will be, it's not going to take over the bourbon closet, but for sure, I think having a couple good bottles added in there will be fantastic. And of note, this Carlos gentleman, he is also the master distiller for a couple other, mainly being Tesoro, which was also recommended to me, that I purchased a couple weeks ago. That is also fantastic. A little more smoky, like a mezcal, but fantastic. And so this guy obviously knows what he's doing. He has a couple different brands that he distills for on his Instagram page. You can check that out if you wish. But apparently his stuff, as testament to the two that I happened to purchase, are fantastic and 100% recommend.
Hopefully, you won't get into tequilas like you do bourbons, because
I don't have the space for it, so it's not
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
happen.
So you mentioned them being, tequila being really trendy right now, and everyone's doing it. So listen, this is a list of celebrities that have their own tequila brand. So Michael Jordan, Kendall Jenner, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, George Clooney and Randy Gerber, Eva Longoria, the Chainsmokers, Adam Levine, Nick Jonas, Mark Wahlberg. Is that it? There's more than that, but that's on this list here.
What
So.
I know is that Casamigos, it has a load of flavoring and sugar added. The 808, which is the whatever the girl's name is, the
818.
Kardashians.
Yeah, Kendall Jenner,
whatever it is.
Yep.
I haven't ever tried that, but I've heard it's dog shit. I'm not a fan, as I've talked about on the bourbon side, of trying or really drinking these celebrity brands.
because they just put their name on it. I think.
Yep.
I don't think
Correct.
they're involved in the distillery. I don't think they're. I think the only person that was really, and I don't know if they still make it, was Sammy Hagar with Cabo Wabo.
Yeah, he still does.
Right.
He actually lives in Mexico, so I mean, he's
Right.
actually all in.
He
so.
was one of the ones. But I think I remember this all started when Entourage. Remember with Turtle, and
Yeah.
I think they were doing one of their tequilas, Avion or whatever it was, and then I know Patron is owned by Paul Mitchell, and then you started seeing, and I think they just go ahead and, hey, you want to sponsor this? We'll give you some shares. You endorse it, but
Yeah.
I really don't think these people are.
Oh shit! I found even more, man. Good
There's
God!
tons.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, Thomas Rhett, Kevin Hart, Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg, Charles Woodson, Aaron Paul, Paul Wesley, Sam Hugan, Ryan Reynolds, Kate Hudson, Nick Offerman. Although this is just liquors in
you
general.
become an A-lister.
Yeah.
And that's like
you
the
have a
thing
liquor.
that you have a liquor. And it literally is just like putting your name on it, and collaboration. They might as well just call it,
Yeah, George
Yeah.
Strait's got his own liquor. LeBron James.
I know that whatchamacallit did his gin, Aviator, I think it was.
Yeah, Ryan
Was it,
Reynolds Aviator. Yeah.
and I think he was in, but I think it's also your location because gin is very huge. I think I've talked about this before on a podcast. Me and my daughter went to England, and the pubs were turning into gin, I guess, halls. Where gin, they had more gin than they did beers, and
Wow.
that's it's very, very popular in I guess whatever region you're in. You know, I know,
Sure.
believe it or not, Austin, Texas is a big gin place.
Really?
You think it would be a tequila place or a bourbon place, but yeah, I think it's just I don't know. So you like it? Did you have any bourbons you want to talk about?
I don't have any bourbons. I can grab some bourbons if you wish, but I don't want to get yelled at by any purists out there. I'm just learning about tequila. I admit that those are basic fucking facts. I get it, but I'm just learning. So I'm a tequila newbie, like Matt is a bourbon newbie. So
I'm a liquor newbie. Oh, yeah. Other than Boone's Farm.
always comes back to Boone's Farm.
Yep.
So me and Casey were talking a couple, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, and I went to the liquor store today, and there's a guy on Instagram. I think it's One Bourbon Guy or One Bourbon Guy or something like that on Instagram. I think Casey just said you'd like to meet him. Do you remember the guy's name or his IG
No, but
handle?
I'll look it up real quick.
So he did a taste, and he believes that the bourbon that I'm going to talk about is the best bourbon of 2024. So, all right, let's go with the hype. And he's got a lot of followers, and Casey will find him. So I went to Total Wine and got their small batch Old Emmer cask strength 116 proof Kentucky bourbon. I got some. See, I got a picture of here. Let's see if I can zoom in on here and let's see here. We're going to talk about all three of these. So this is right here. Talked to the guy whose name was on the, they have suggested by this, Phil. And Phil was actually, shout out to Phil because I talked to him today. He was like, and he literally was like, oh, they put my name on that shit? And I was like, oh, well, this is supposed to be like good stuff. So he goes, I got a bottle for you. And he goes, it's good. No, it's good. It's good. And I was like, well, okay. So he's like, hey, I have a bottle. It's been open for a while now. And I looked at the date and it hadn't been open since September. So you guys have seen me. I'm always like have a Zen in my mouth and stuff. So I took this shit like a shot. And so, they give you a little plastic thimble anyway. So, I mean, I smell it. It smells good. I will say, pretty good. Hit me in the back of the throat because it is 116 proof, but went down smooth. Definitely could taste what everyone's been saying, the honey oak and the vanilla. But for 116 proof, was not burning like all the way down. Didn't burn my stomach. Didn't even burn my tongue. Just the back of my throat. And maybe it's because I just threw it back there because I didn't want to mess it up with my cinnamon. Get those flavors, and
they will take a chaw out.
You're used to always throwing it into the back of your throat too. I mean, I'm surprised that affected you at all.
So I'm gonna bring this with us. I'm not gonna crack it open. I'm gonna bring it with us. So he's like, oh, I told him we're doing a podcast. So he asked about the podcast, and he's like, well, let me give you my pick. What I think is very good. So he said, let's see here, this one here. I think this is batch number 12. So St. Alley, 107 proof. It's a blend, straight whiskey, finished in Armagnac
in Marana. In Marana.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. So how you butcher the Spanish language? I'll butcher this one. So
there you go. I don't know what language that is either.
So I looked at some of the notes, and it said it tastes like licorice and anise, and those are flavors that I don't particularly care for.
Yeah.
So, and Casey, you said now great reviews, scores 96 on pretty much all of the tastings. and even the guy that was checking me out was like, "Oh, this one's really good." His name, I think I forgot his name already. His name was on this one. I said, "Well, your name's on this one too. Did they just put your name on this bullshit too?" And he was like, "No, this one is actually really good." So, I think we're gonna be shit faced by the time we taste these. Now, as you guys know, I'm a big Jack Daniels guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very disappointed in my next pick, what I got. So
Well, let's hold on before we go to that.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
Amberana finish. It's kind of at the tail end of these finishing, barrels, secondary barrels. We've had, all these wine finishes and different oak finishes and whatnot. And the Amberana is kind of the latest. Was super popular for a minute, but it's been, as you noted, very kind of controversial, where the licorice type flavors are pretty strong.
Oh, okay.
I have not had an Amberana finish because that's not something I like that flavor profile is not something I typically go for. And, as I said before, I'm not high on these secondarily finished barrels either. But I don't know that as many people are coming out with them now. I think they were kind of a flash in the pan. You still see these like double oaked and French oak and, whatever. But these Amberanas seem to be dying out pretty quick. But if it's scored so well, I'm very curious to taste it and see how it is. Maybe I'll love it. I don't know, but
Yeah, and it was not cheap. So I think this one was $79 or $99.
yeah.
So when he actually looked at it, I think he looked at the 12 and thought it was aged for 12 years because there was one that was 4, and I probably should have got the 4 one because that was a newer batch or older batch than the 12. But he told me to get the 12, so I did. And it seems to be like it's a blend, because it is a blend. It's a blend of straight whiskey. But I'm curious. I just pulled this out. Didn't really do too much research on it, but I think in July maybe we'll do a podcast on it with our phones and see what if it holds true to what everybody else is tasting. I kind of know, but I know James and you guys. But in that case, because you're very familiar with the flavoring. But I am very curious, and I got the last bottle of that one too. So I was that 12. So, can I do my next pick?
Yeah, I'm excited to give it a fair shake because, like I said, I haven't had one. So
real quick, so just for those listening that doesn't know anything about liquor like me, Amberana finish based on Google says typically has sweet flavors of honey, graham cracker, and gingerbread that are counterbalanced by cinnamon, baking spices, clove, and light charred oak.
Are you spelling it correctly?
Amburana?
No.
Okay.
ARMAGN.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. AC. So ARMAGNAC.
Got it.
That's why I couldn't pronounce it very good.
Oh, yeah.
Bourbon Jack
is a niche spirit that refers to whiskeys aged in Armagnac barrels. Yeah.
I was saying
Armagnac region of southwest France.
All right, so either way, I'm excited to taste it.
Yeah, it's something different.
Maybe I just haven't heard of that. I don't know. I was referring to the Amberana stuff, which, like I said, has been the bison, but dough ricing. But
so this is out of this is a blend, probably from it's Texas and naturally Indiana. So I'm curious to see what. So we had a good conversation. We talked. I wanted to see what his take on. He's like, well, what do you like? And I was like, well, like, I don't like. Oh, we start talking about Buffalo Trace, and I mean, I do like it, but he was like, oh, the Buffalo Trace. And I was like, well, I actually like what my buddy told me, which was, I will tell you this, Casey, when you throw out a Evan Williams bottled and bond, only Kentucky, people look at you like, oh fuck, okay.
This guy knows what he's
talking about. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, plus I heard it's going to be from, Kentucky pretty soon. So that is true. It's going to be, and he actually knew that as well. And he said, yeah, the reason why is because they were dishing this stuff so much that they couldn't keep up. So now they're going to bring it back and let it kind of preserve that flavors. And he goes, and then they'll bring it back and they'll hold it, and then they'll release it again for like $30 or $40 a bottle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, so you do like, you know what's good?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and like Wild Turkey too. And he goes like, "Oh," I'm like, "Actually, I don't drink Wild Turkey, but my buddy, he has like 200 bottles, and he really, that's like, he's like, I would agree with him." And he goes, "But everybody wants like these names and stuff." He goes, "But if you really get down to it," and again, some of the listeners, you know, we talk a lot about watches and stuff, but when it really comes down to it, most of the stuff that I'm seeing that I taste, it's just different flavorings. And I think they're just doing that to be hipsterish, I guess, or, you know, you get it. It's just like I used to smoke cigars and it was the same thing. Like, you know what? Sometimes you just want a good Monte Cristo or I don't know, Romeo and Juliet, something instead of just with all these different flavors or dip in this. And so, I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited to taste this. And I will say that the old Emmer, actually, for being such a high proof, it didn't seem that bad. So I'm going to see what this one is when crack it first. But,
And the old Emmer, it's not age stated, but it says that it's a minimum of 4 years. So that's pretty damn good to be that high proof and to be, you know, that pretty mellow. Usually you see that more in a 6, 8, 10 year.
And a good thing too is it is a small batch. I think this was a small batch that Total Wine, because you can only get it at Total Wine.
Now hold on. Small batch, or do you mean single barrel?
Small batch.
Small batch does not have a legal definition. So small batch could be 5 barrels, or it could be 10,000 barrels. You know, like Wild Turkey, 10,000 barrels. That would be a pretty small batch compared to their massive scale.
What it says.
It's like limited edition with the watches. You can have 500 or you can make 10,000.
Yeah,
it's still limited edition.
So that I actually don't know, and I would think it would be probably small batch because I saw lots of these there. So it's probably lots and lots of barrels that they.
Small batch is just, it ends up being a marketing term. It doesn't have a real definition.
So it's not like single barrel.
Correct.
Well, you get like 300 bottles or 400 bottles.
What, 200 and less than 250 typically? Yeah. Okay. Of a single barrel.
Well, that depends on the age.
Correct.
So my next pick. All right.
Yes.
So
let's get into it.
I drink Jack. I used to drink it a lot, but I lost a lot of weight and can't drink worth shit. So I got this because, first of all, I almost got in the pissing match with my daughter because she was going to get it for me for Father's Day because I went to Publix with her. James told me about it. Locally, James found it for $70, told me about it, and I was like, $70? Okay, this is pretty cool. Let me see if I can get it. And let's cut down to I got my watch today and wear the old Arnie Seiko, so I put that on.
Yeah.
So Jack Daniels, hole number 7, in collaboration with McLaren, 80 proof, just like your regular. So this is where I'm disappointed. This is a $20 bottle all day long. $21, $22 all day long. They throw a fucking sticker on it. Because it's the same juice.
Yeah.
They throw a sticker on it. And the guy even says, like, oh, well, yeah, this, and I got the last one of these too. He's like, oh, this is a collector's edition. Okay. So I'm thinking, well, at least, because I didn't even open, this is the box that comes in. Let's see. So I should have opened a box. And from now on, I will open. Because I've seen some collector stuff where the bottle is different. They literally just throw a different sticker on it. There's nothing on this bottle that says McLaren, nothing. And they throw this stupid
except the logo on the neck.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm paying almost double. Well, in James' case, if I would have had him get it for me at $70, shit,
3 times.
over 3 times the amount.
Yeah, we see this a lot here. Well, I'm not in Kentucky anymore, but in Kentucky with Maker's Mark, they do a lot of Kentucky basketball, Kentucky sports Maker's Mark bottles, and those things, you know, they become collector's items. People, you know, go nuts over them. It's the same juice. Hell, they could put probably fucking apple juice in most of them because they never get opened. Nobody drinks those special bottles. Yeah. It's just like yours is, you know, in theory could be shit in there. And most people won't know the difference because it's a collector's bottle.
I mean, at this particular thing though, it's not even. I mean, they didn't even use different glass. It's not even
No.
like you would do. There's been some like I'm trying to think of some of the Jack Daniels that the original blend or the I don't know whatever year it was, and they have a different glass and a different label, but at least the glass in the bottle looks different. I'm very disgusted in this that I paid double for a sticker. Like,
Disgusted.
Well,
I like this.
okay, so I hear you, and I don't
Okay.
disagree with you, but at the same time, we're gearheads. This is fucking marketing 101 with every auto manufacturer out there. They come out with a special edition. They throw a decal kit on it. They charge an extra $4,000, and it's the same car with a freaking decal kit on it.
yeah, but
hello
look at
BMW.
look at it exactly. But look at that though.
Right.
At least they put like we'll use a Weissach edition Porsche. You're getting different suspension. You're getting an interior. You can only get. You're getting something different than. I will say a BMW. Yes, they're notorious for just throwing an M badge on there.
Right.
But at least you're getting M interior. You're not just getting a label. You're getting something. You're getting M interior or shift knob. I don't know. It just feels jet.
Nothing would make me fun. Nothing would be funnier. It wouldn't be funny to you. It'd be, if you went and you started to peel that McLaren label off, and it's just the Jack Daniel label under it. They didn't. They didn't bother taking the right. They didn't take it. Yeah, they just put a sticker over the sticker.
You can see through it. So, but even the label when they put it in, it's so sloppily placed, and there's cuts and stuff in. You can see a little bit. There's cuts in
it. That is shitty.
Yeah, like out here, you can see these cuts and in it. And even on the side, I don't know, man. Like
they should have thrown it back, man. They should have actually made the bottle the shape of a McLaren car.
I will say this though, it just says edition. It says MCL XJD 2024 edition. It does not say collector's edition or anything like that. It just says official partner. And the reason why they did this is because Jack Daniels sponsored their car. So.
Well, they deserve it. I'm sure they're getting, the extra $20 that you spent on the bottle. They're probably getting that, and
I got the last one.
We know McLaren needs the money, and F1 is extremely popular right now, right? So the Netflix series has exploded the sport here in America. So good for them. I mean, somebody's got to do it. You're buying the bottle either way.
Take advantage of it while you can.
Exactly right.
Take the money and run.
And I want to go back to the Old Emmer. I finally found it. It took me a moment, but Old Emmer is made for Total Wine. It's Total Wine house brand, made by Barton. Barton, does their own stuff, but they also contract distill a lot. So that's probably got a very distinctive flavor profile that I liked. I like some of their stuff anyway. Calumet is another one of their contracts, but noting who makes it, you can kind of get an idea of what the flavor profiles are.
Okay,
cool.
So at least it is a Kentucky,
yes,
bourbon. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what. I think you guys would like it. Yeah,
Barton does good stuff. They do, like I said, Calumet. They do some Costco, Kirkland brand stuff as well.
I'm just going to close this at this point and go home.
I'm telling you, it's pretty good stuff. I like it.
Is it?
Yeah.
So while we're still talking about liquors, I found today, and again, I make no bones about it. I know nothing about this kind of stuff. So I found this article I sent to you guys: 6 bourbons and whiskeys perfect for Father's Day. I don't know what these brands are. I don't know if this is good, bad, or indifferent. So I wanted to go over these real quick and see what your thoughts are. If you think it is a good Father's Day gift, or if it is hype, or is it? Do you have something that you would suggest over these?
I certainly suggest bottle number 1, chicken cock.
Yep.
I mean, just because it's chicken cock.
Well, that's true.
It's a nice bottle too. It's. I will tell you, it's got a bite to it though. Have you had it?
Yeah, I've got a bottle. I don't drink it often. I don't really care for it at all. I think it's actually pretty bad. But the name of it, I think, is enough just to elicit a purchase.
So they're calling it Chicken Cock Small Batch Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, $70, $69.99.
I think that's too much. Yeah, I think that's too much for it. Perhaps that is. I hope that's not like MSRP. Maybe that's
No, that
some.
is that's
Is
that
it really?
is what it goes for, and I think a lot of it has to do with the bottle. The bottle, it's a really nice bottle.
Yeah, it is.
Being in manufacturing and stuff like that, a lot of times, and let's face it, we all know when we buy something, the packaging sometimes can
It
put a
matters.
shit
Sure.
product over the top. So,
True.
Yeah.
No doubt.
yeah, I've had it. It's very strong. My daughter and I had it in Savannah, and we were drinking it with old fashions. And even then, I was like, "And why do we get it? Because it's a chicken cock on there." And she was already like 2 or 3 in.
I'm surprised. It's a Bardstown Bourbon Company product. I love BBC and most of their products. This must just be really young, because as Kevin said, it's got a bite to it. It does taste a little mashy to me, and so perhaps it's just one of their younger products. But I'm surprised that it's a BBC because I typically am head over heels for their stuff. So. Interesting. I do think that's overpriced for that bottle, though, for sure.
Well, here's a bargain. So this whatever Tullamore Dew Honey is $18.99 a bottle.
Oh yeah, Tullamore.
Yeah.
Casey, we've had that many times over in St. Augustine, huh? When they were pumping it out at No Name.
That's true.
Miguel was giving out free.
Well, wonder what happened after that.
Yeah.
Uh,
That I think I would not agree with that. It's a Irish whiskey traditionally, and now they're making a bourbon. So I don't know too much about it, but I can tell you that they spend a lot of money on marketing and giving away their product to get it out there. At least in this area, in Florida, I see it a lot, and I know for a fact that bottle is very inexpensive for bars, and that's why they push it because.
well, and I also want to say that this is. I would hesitate to call this even a whiskey because it's. If you even read in this article, which is
That's what I'm reading right now.
Whiskey
Yeah.
Watch, it's a flavored juice essentially. It's a blend of Irish whiskeys, and they have probably doused their barrels with honey to get whatever flavor they can out of these things because it's not very good.
Yep.
So I would. This is not one I would recommend at all. The only one on this list that I think that I could recommend would be the chicken cock.
Really,
which
not
is,
the you don't like the Angel's
well,
Envy.
maybe the Angel's Envy. Which one are they calling for here?
I
What's
think
this
just a
here?
regular one. And Angel's
The
Envy.
port barrel. See, I like
Yep.
the rum barrel finished one, especially in old fashions. I think that's a good whiskey to blend into an old fashioned. The port barrel is not my favorite one out of the two, the rum or the port. But yeah, the chicken cock or the Angel's Envy for my flavor, my palate, I think that's but certainly not some honey flavored bullshit.
Yeah, and the Angel's Envy here in Florida is typically that's a $20 bottle. Now I think they are $40. And this wasn't too many years ago, but that typically is you go and you got, I don't know, Jack Daniels, you have Jim Beam, you got
Maker's Mark.
Bullet,
Yep.
or if you go to a fancy place, they call it Bouillet, and I
Yeah,
laugh.
that's bullshit. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they have Bullet, rye, or bourbon, and then they will have Angel's Envy, and that's usually the top shelf.
Yeah.
I don't agree that it's top shelf.
I don't know. Yeah.
I do like it. And it's one of the ones that kind of I started out on. But it's not my favorite at all anymore. What's the other ones, Matt?
So next one is called Amber Felby Limited Edition 15-year-old Cadillac White Wine Cask, $74.99.
It's a Scotch, or supposed to be Scotch. It's from the Highlands.
Yeah, Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Scotch or Irish whiskey really at all. It's very, very smoky, peaty, mossy. For me, I'm not there yet. Maybe I'll be there one day. So I can't say if these are any good or not. It's what, $75. So I don't know. I don't know. Somebody smarter than me or has got a better palate than I do would have
Yep.
to.
Now,
But
say
a
I
lot
if
of
have
it's-
these
heard.
of just or blends or they're flavor added bourbons or whiskeys or there's not one that's
Maybe-
finished straight.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're suggesting it for the newer drinker, or for your father that you don't know what he drinks. Maybe these are good introductory type offerings. I don't know,
Mhm.
but you're right. They're all flavored stuff.
Yeah.
So
Now, I have heard of Glenturret before, but it is a Scotch. It's not a bourbon. But I've heard that name before. So as a single malt
I mean,
whiskey.
so Father's Day, is 4
Sunday.
of them. I mean, you're
Yeah.
spending. I know, but you're spending potentially $300 on some mediocre
Yeah.
whiskeys
yeah,
for.
just buy a bottle of Wild Turkey. He'll be much happier. Or if I can,
Yeah.
I mean, if he's really into whiskeys, I think he's gonna be like, oh, thank you.
yeah. Where can I place this?
Yeah. Great.
So have you ever heard of J. Mattingly before?
I don't know.
J. Mattingly, 1845.
Yes, I've never
and
seen
it's
this bottle.
Well, because it's a custom Father's Day bourbon bottle, so it's probably that's why it says My Hero. I bet it was made specifically for
Is it
Father's
just a
Day.
sticker, or does it?
Oh no, it's
is it
definitely a sticker.
bottle?
It's a sticker over the normal J. Mattingly sticker, I bet. So it says Father's Day celebrations, yeah, custom, yeah. This is just a
So,
custom sticker.
what would you pick, Casey, if you had to pick? Let's just say 3 bottles for Father's Day for a bourbon guy. You know, he's a bourbon guy. What would you pick? That's
not
not
off this list, just in
Yeah, in
general.
general.
just in general, and let's not get too carried away. So we're gonna say
Yeah.
you're gonna give it to not your father, but your father-in-law.
Okay, I would go with an Old Forester 1920. I think that's an awesome bottle. I do Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Another phenomenal, easy bottle to find. And let's see, those are $50 for a Rare Breed. 1920 is I think around $70, something like that. On the cheaper end, I think people crush it. Well, it's so popular. I don't know how you can crush me for it, but Knob Creek 9. Just the standard Knob Creek 9 offering. In a lot of places now will have a single barrel that you can buy from. Another one that's a little bit more than that would be Larceny Barrel Proof. This year or this season's variant, which is, I want to say, I'll lie to you. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it's supposedly very good. I haven't bought this season stuff, but it's supposedly really, really good. That's what those 4 I think are all the price range, really up to $100.
Mhm.
And you couldn't go wrong with any of those.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. See, I learn something new.
There you go. I'm not seeing who makes this Jade Mattingly. I lied to you. It's NGP. So that you can get that in 100 different bottles.
Right.
You don't have to spend money on the J Madison name. You can get that in a lot of different stuff. That's your Squibb, and Ross and Squibb is their house brand label now.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize neither, Matt, is that I know you're not into it, and a lot of listeners, you have some people that are into it, but a lot of this is just marketing. You
Yeah,
like
of
you
course.
just said, you can get that they mix a little bit, or they just throw it in a different bottle. And hey, like I said, kudos to them. But I definitely think you can go get the house brand, or you can get the staple. And
You really, bourbon has such a history of well, I shouldn't say history. I think that the last decade or 2 decades, the names of the bourbons have become so popular. The Pappies, the Wellers,
Mhm.
the Daniel LaRue's, these bottles, the purple caps or purple tops, they become such like iconic things, and they cost so much money. You do not have to spend that much money to have a fantastic experience with bourbon. You can spend the $35 on a Knob Creek 9, and that bottle is fantastic, and you can find it everywhere. or you can do, $35 Wild Turkey 101. I'm telling you, if you don't just shoot that and you take the time to drink it and taste it, it's a fantastic bottle. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg to enjoy bourbon.
I like the fact that the first 3 bourbons you mentioned, $150. I mean, you can get all 3 for $150. That's a great price point. Now, my dad doesn't drink bourbon, so for me, I could spend $150 on Natty Light, and he's happy. So I mean, I just get a bunch of cases of Natty Light. He's a good guy. So, but yeah,
I think what's also fun is that all 4 of those bourbons all come from different distilleries, so their profiles are all going to be different. You'll have a different experience with each one, and they're all they're not cost prohibitive, meaning you can go out and buy them all at once and have a small sampling, a small tasting with friends, and have an awesome time figuring it out and tasting the differences in them, because they'll all be very different.
That's cool.
Yeah, because between that and now, you're seeing everybody doing, like Ocean Sea,
Jefferson's
running around the ocean. Everyone's got something to, I don't know, to add or to maybe. I think it's taking away from the true taste of some of these great bourbons.
Well, the bourbon shelf's getting pretty crowded, and so the marketing gimmicks have got to come out. And one of the bourbon podcasts I listened to is actually talking about how 2023 was a pullback year for bourbon. We're still seeing some slide. At least their analysis. This is the Pursuit United Bourbon podcast, but they're still thinking that there's still some pullback from COVID, where everyone went out in 21, 22 and just bought to stock because you had nothing else fucking to do. And 23, there's a pullback. And so are we seeing that it's an inflection point in demand? Are we going to start to see it come back down? These bourbon companies have been just barreling at an astounding rate. They're building rick houses. They're expanding their tasting rooms. The experience at the distilleries is getting better. They're adding restaurants and whatever. And have we hit peak bourbon? I don't think so. I think more and more and more people are learning about bourbon and learning to taste it. To my understanding, we're still not selling as much as we did in the 1960s, where the peak of bourbon historically, that's where we've seen it at the highest. But is there some sort of, dip fluctuation point going on right now? I mean, that's what they're thinking.
Well, I think that has to do with the economy as well, because
sure, absolutely,
spending $70 on something that, where I think I spent between this and a bottle of Bailey's for my wife, $200 So
yeah, it's true.
With everything's getting tight, you have that to spend. And before there's a lot of people that had disposable income because they're getting free money or send people. So.
And let's also look at how bourbon is enjoyed, at least historically. Socially, right. Bourbon is not something that realistically you need 200 fucking bottles in your closet for. That's enough bourbon for 10 years because you're not drinking it at pace or at scale, or maybe you shouldn't be. But it's not Natty Ice and you're chugging an 18 case. And so perhaps people like myself have hit a glut point where I've got to drink a bottle before I can add another bottle. And that just takes a while to go through.
Especially if you're rotating between all your bottles. It takes a while to finish one off.
Right, well, like exactly Casey says too. I mean, I know he'll have one or two. I personally, I'm a social drinker, so I have to. Now, I'm not gonna have one unless maybe if I have something, then my wife will say, "Hey, make me something." It may not be a bourbon, but I know it's not a bourbon for sure. Or I'll make one for Savannah. But I'm not usually gonna sit there and just
sip on a bourbon.
Yep.
Yeah, or tequila. Unless I have a real shitty day.
This tequila is really good.
Or unless I have a shitty day, then okay, I just want. But I won't have. I mean, I'll pour a thick pour.
Yeah.
Just to get. I'm getting toasted. But yeah. Social. It's a social drink, and the other thing too is, I don't typically drink bourbon out too much because it's so overpriced. I mean, I'm already paying more money than it's probably worth, and then I'm paying on top of that more money just because it's at a bar, and that's typically why I'll drink Jack Daniels or if they have Jim Beam on special, because hey,
well,
it's,
and typically the bars are going to carry the name brand stuff, which is the stuff that's got all the hype right now. So you're paying more for the hype as well.
That's why you just go well. The well's usually like a Jim Beam.
Yeah.
And if you're mixing it, again, you're being social. You may not need a neat glass of bourbon. So give me a bourbon and ginger, and sure, I'll take Jim Beam every day.
And I really, Matt, I haven't seen too many bars, I should say, not like a bourbon bar, but a bar that has nice bourbons to choose from. They have, like I was saying, they'll typically have an Angels Envy, Maker's Mark, that's Knob Creek, which I don't like, but again, we're all different. What's the other one that's James was
Buffalo
talking
Trace?
about? No, that's hard to get too. If you have that, they're great, but I'm trying to think what it'll pop in my head. Anyways, they'll have something. What was that drink that he was drinking? It's like in a bottle like this. I can only give like not Knob Creek. It's very popular. It's
What, like Blands?
No, it's a cheap bottle. I'll look at it while I'm talking. They'll have a couple bottles and that's it. And that's what they're getting because they want to get the cheapest bottle, but with the highest kind of name margin on it. So you're not going to go in and say, hey, how many people are going to say, oh, can I get that, 25-year-old Pappy? Oh, it's $200 or
right
for
an ounce, right?
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. So I don't know. Anything else? I know we got some more time.
Yeah. Well, I know I bought a new watch.
Let's go.
Let me share this real quick.
Oh, it was Woodford, by the way. Is what I was
Woodford.
thinking. Woodford Reserve, yeah.
That's on a lot of that is on a lot of shelves now.
Yes.
And a good bourbon.
So I picked this
Rally.
Yep, I picked up this Rally. So Seiko is on fire right now. They really are. That James said it best. I mean, they're just they're just killing the game. So, and I think primarily because we even though I'm not the big vintage guy like a lot of you guys are, I buy more newer stuff. But I love the vintage styling. And that's what they're doing right now. They're doing a lot of recreations. So this is their newest Rally. It's a limited edition. Seiko SRP K67, which is part of the SKX line. And it's everything you would expect. A lot of these Seikos from the Seiko 5 collection are the same underneath. It's got an automatic 4R36 movement. It's got a manual wind to it. 41-hour power reserve, Hardix crystal. It's a 42.5 millimeter case size, stainless steel, exhibition case back. It's just a cool watch, and it's $350. I mean, $350.
That's not a good price for an automatic watch.
It is. It's a great price for an automatic watch, And I mean, this will do everything that you want a watch to do, and have some style at the same time. So
now is that classified as a diver watch, or which is just
it doesn't classify it as a diver watch. I mean, the crown is not a screw down crown, so I don't know. I mean, I would have no problem going swimming with this. I don't know that I'd probably dive with it. But yeah, you could take this in the ocean and swim with it and have no issues at all.
Yeah, I love the look. I love this watch. I really want a vintage one. But this watch is super nice looking to me.
I like it too. I like it a lot.
Yep. So anyway, that was my new pick. My new grab.
I'm seeing a lot of the throwbacks and stuff like that, but with Rolex, and I'm seeing that a lot of people now, even I follow a couple of watch guys that buy Rolexes. They're actually putting on their stores now these Rolexes for sale, like immediately. Like, oh, this one. I think they know it's coming. It's Rolex.
The market is already correct, like starting to correct. You can get these things at retail now on the secondary market, if not below. Even on your popular brands like your Submariner and these things that are hard to get or were hard to get. It's not that way right now.
I think it's just because people don't have the. I mean, in my business, Matt, we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Casey and James, this doesn't really affect them because of the industry they're in. But in our particular, we sell to consumers, so I'm definitely seeing it. Last month, I saw it a lot. I had to go up against. I mean, I didn't even make 2019 numbers before COVID. We were below that, so I definitely am seeing it, and I'm just seeing it all over when I'm out and about. Whether it's at the bar, at a restaurant. Um, I have friends that have Airbnbs. They're having a hard time with that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what these times do.
Yeah, listen, we've been through this before, and it's always hurts. It'll rebound. I know it will rebound. It just depends on how long it takes to rebound.
Yeah.
You're talking about the market, the watch market correcting itself. A lot of these, especially the websites like your Crown and Calibers and things of that, Bob watches, they're inundated with stock. So, a couple weeks ago, just for shits and giggles, I have no intention on selling it. No, I would never sell it. But my Omega, I said, let me just see what they'd be offering, like that. And so I put the information into Crown and Caliber, and it kickbacks in. Sorry, we're not buying any of those right now. They wouldn't even give you a number because they have so many in stock.
Wow.
So yeah, and we're talking a brand new Omega, less than a year and a month old. So yeah, so they're just inundated with inventory. So
That's bizarre. Because we've been kind of riding this wave for a while, so it's interesting to see the flip side of it. I too got a new watch.
Ooh, what you get?
I'm pretty stoked about this one. I showed you all the SKX 009 last week.
Yes.
And here we have
Ooh.
what are the numbers? 61. I'm trying to read, I'm sorry. And it's so tiny.
I like that a lot.
6139-7100. Mine's from 75 December. It looks just like this one. My band is different. I'll show you my band in the camera here. I don't know what kind of band you call that, but I like it.
I like it too.
It's this is the nickname would be the Darth Vader because of the helmet shape,
Mhm.
right, and then the black face. Super cool watch. I love the blue and the yellow. It's very chunky. I have one that's got the same case style. It's a speed timer. But this one's just as cool. I love it. It's very accurate thus far. Everything sets back to 0. It's got the Roman numerals, which is my first Roman numeral watch for your days of the week, which was also cool because the SGX or XKX was the Arabic, so that was also cool. But cool watch. I like it. Excited about it.
I was supposed to get
my
a new
friend,
watch today, but it didn't come yet.
So you're starting to build quite the little collection there, Casey.
It's getting there. It's fun. There's still several that I know that I want.
Mhm.
The vintage ones. And we'll see how long it takes to get there. I'm not buying them obviously at the pace that I was initially, but these they're super fun and they get talked about and people ask about them, and I enjoy wearing them.
So I'm at the point now where I have so many different watches that unless the style really grabs me,
Or the color.
whatever. Yeah, the color, whatever. I'm a color guy. Like honestly, I don't have a watch with a salmon dial. I'm not a pink guy, but I like salmon. So if I found one that was cool enough with a salmon dial, I'd probably pick it up. But I have several orange, a couple of yellows. I like bright colors. So, but yeah, unless something really strikes me, like when I saw when James posted this one up, I immediately knew I got to get that. Plus I wear a lot of checkerboard Vans and everything. The
shoes.
style matches. Yeah, so it was cool.
I like it. I love it.
Well, yeah, man, it's my Farron watch. It'll match our shoes on the rally.
There you go.
So, we got anything else, guys? I
installed a grill in my wife's car today.
You did, yeah.
I'll show you guys a picture of it. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, you did install a grill.
If I can.
And while you're pulling it up, do we want to make any comments about the new GTS? Does anybody have any thoughts about it? I like the grill.
So that's the GT grill. It was on that in 2019. This is a 17 or 18. But
I like it.
The grill was getting messed up. It was not. So I can tell you this: that grill was on eBay, $300. But I found another one, and this has a camera in the front for $89, and it looked the same. So I said, "What the hell?" For $89, and the guy that has it for sale for $300 keeps on sending me, "Hey, it was like $389, $350." 3 this, 3 that, and I'm like, no, like I don't want it. And like,
Right.
but me and Brooke put that on today. It looks great. I think it looks good. And she had the original one that it had a black wrap on it because normally it's silver on hers, and the wrap was coming apart. And for what it cost, it probably would have cost me the same amount of money, if not more, to wrap it, take it off and wrap it again. So yeah, I think it makes the car newer looking because that's the only change. The only thing it doesn't have is the AMG logo on it, but she was happy with it. So I don't know. I think it definitely changes it up, and I was surprised that it went on so smooth. Yes, there was a lot of clips and stuff. There's two of us without breaking anything.
Wow, that's great.
That's impressive.
Yeah, if you can do that and not break something, you're doing good.
Oh, I was supposed to get my car tomorrow, but I'm not getting it tomorrow. I'm getting it on Friday. My
Okay.
wife's off.
Well, so who trailered it down?
Speak English.
I'm sorry. I get excited. Who trailered it down, or who's trailing it down, or did the carrier?
I think SonarWorks is. I gave him a guy that I just used, and I guess he did it because he was pretty reasonable price.
Okay.
So, but he was supposed to pick it up today, but he's not picking it up. I was supposed to get my windshield done. I think we talked about that from the rally. The guy said, "Oh, yep, I got all 5 windshields and none of them have antennas, so they didn't want to come off. They only wanted to come off. That's a $200 windshield opposed to a $700 windshield. They only get knocked off $50, so if I'm taking your pallet back. So haven't got that done. What else haven't I got? Once I get that done, then I will do the AC lines. But I completed my rally bag, and I'm super stoked about it because it's super tiny and it's got all the tools that I wanted. So I'll have to show you guys all, and it was very inexpensive. And probably doesn't have just wrenches that you're going to bust your knuckles on, actually tools that you can use. Because if anybody have used those thin wrenches that come in a lot of those kits, they suck. I love to have a ratchet that I can, I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
Especially on an AC bracket bolt, the bolt's like this, this long. You'd be there fucking forever. So got that done, and that's it.
Cool. So Casey, you mentioned the new GTS. What I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I think you knew this was going to happen. You knew it was coming. It's inevitable. I think this probably fills kind of checks the box for Porsche with this model. I think this also probably offloads some of the cost or some of the investment that they had to lay out for the F1 stuff because it's the F1 derived system. I think the system makes sense being between the engine and transmission. It adds 52 or 62 horsepower.
Right,
like it's not insane.
No,
it's like a little boost assist.
That's all it is.
You get the electric turbo spin up, which I'm sure widens that torque curve, which probably allows them to run less pressure for overall performance. More torque under the curve, better the performance. Do I love it? I don't know. But is it an advancement? Probably so.
How much more weight did this system add to the car?
I don't know that answer. I probably read that. I just don't remember.
Is this the one that they're showing pictures of the skeleton where they're like, how are you going to change the spark plugs? You're going to have to drop the motor?
Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Well, and then again, everyone's talking, nobody works on that.
Nobody does their
age
shit.
It's gone.
Well, it's a Porsche. 99.9% of the time, they drop the motor anyway to do anything.
Yeah. I do think that whole thing is unfortunate. I think but the packaging on these things is difficult, right? Like they've moved the engine so far forward, it's basically become a mid-engine car. So the packaging is tough anyway. And now you're adding something else into it, so it's really cranking stuff up. But I'm sure it's cool. I mean, I'm sure it's going to sound awful. But I think that they probably had to check that box, and now you've got a 911 variant with a hybrid powertrain, and we'll see how it sells. It's GTS model, so that's not ever the popular model at the time that they're sold, right? They always become the popular model in the used market, the enthusiast market. So we'll see how it does. I mean, it's better than full electric or these massive hybrid battery things.
Correct. And that's why I said I don't hate it.
Yeah, the battery's the same size as like a normal battery.
But it's crazy how they at least listened, thought, and immediately switched instead of, because they could have just stuck to their and said, EV, but they saw, and I think a lot of, like, we talked about before, Toyota, and they're not going to go 100% electric. I think a lot of people are not. I think they're immediately switching over.
I find it funny that on the forums and everything, literally the biggest gripe about this new 911 is not even the motor; it's the push button start. Everyone is freaking out over. And Kevin. So in your GT3, do you use it? Do you have just the? Do you have a key? Because I heard that some of the GT3s or whatever, or maybe it was the
992.2. I think it's gonna have the.
It's got just a toggle. It's like a built-in, like it's just a piece of plastic. You just turn it.
I do. I have the toggle. It's just
okay. You have the toggle
switch. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so
but at least it looks like
a key, but it's still not a key. You leave in your pocket. You just get in there. You turn the thing. So people are.
I never had that even with the 991.
I have that feature. I have entry and drive in my 08 Cayenne. It's the greatest thing ever. I love it. Not having to take the key out. I leave it in my backpack. I throw it in the back seat, and I never have to mess with the key at all.
So, but I just found it funny that on the 992s anyway, you get in there, your key stayed in your pocket. The only difference is you're reaching up and you're just turning a fake key, versus now pushing a button.
The fake button.
It just looks cheesy.
It looks like trash. It does look like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
The font's not even. They could have used the font that everyone uses on the oil, like that Porsche font that they use, or like where it says fuel. We all know that font, or even a Porsche. It looks like something from Discount Auto Parts.
Correct.
It even doesn't even look centered on some of the ones that I've seen. So.
Because it came out of a Golf GTI. Probably so.
Did.
I don't know that, but probably, or an Audi A4. So, so I did find it interesting though that they're launching with the base and the GTS. They're not coming out with the S for like another 6 to 8 months.
You think that's advancement in the electric motor, that the S will have something different?
Maybe. I don't know. But that's why even the launch thing, they showed the base and the GTS.
Or how to mate a manual transmission into it, because they made that known that the GTS will not have a manual transmission.
True. So who knows? A lot of questions, but we'll see how it goes. I know one thing: I'm never getting rid of my 997 because I mean, literally
keep digging in, and I agree with this.
Well, because the 991 and into the 992 and all that, more technology. That shit's gonna start breaking down. My car, your car, Casey, it's fucking analog. I mean, it really. Other than we don't have an air cooled motor, it has radiators. But other than that, it's freaking analog as shit. So
I would say that I could foresee buying a 991.1, still an NA engine with a PDK. Now that the distance sensor problem is kind of solved, and you're not worried about shit in the bed on a PDK, I think that is probably an everyday driver engine, everyday driving vehicle. The size is bigger, like everything about it is more everyday, and I can see that becoming a really popular enthusiast everyday driver car.
And you still have analog, you still have buttons. Now back to the 997. You guys have 997.1s or .2s?
.1.
So the .2s, from listening to Peak Art Talks podcast. When Mike and Aaron were talking about that, I started looking at those. Man, have those cars come up on pricing? A manual 997.1 or .2, they're no longer with low miles. And when I say low miles, like under 50,000 or 60,000, they're in the 60s and 70s now.
So the .1s are still the M97 engine that has its problems, as I've discussed before. The .2s were the DFI engine. That's the 09 to 012. The number of manuals produced in that model is infinitesimal, and you pay a significant amount of money for a manual
I think
version
it's
of it.
500 or 2,000 or 5,000, I think, or something like that. And I think they were going over at like 2,000 in white.
Yeah,
But like any other
Yeah.
color other than white and black, it was like
very
super
small.
numbers,
Very
like
small.
hundreds.
Yeah. And that is, we're starting to see some like bore scoring type issues in those DFI engines that we saw like in the Cayenne. Cayenne suffers from bore scoring of my vintage. We're starting to see that some in the 911. But overall, that engine is much less, or seems to be much less prone to its predecessor issues. And it's going to be, it's the next, I think I'm a 997 lover, but it's going to be the next, I think, car to really skyrocket in price because of all the feels, Matt, that you're talking about that it gives. It's not truly analog, but it sure as hell feels smaller, tighter, quicker, more analog than
but it's the last generation. So it's the last generation with hydraulic steering. I mean, it went electric after that. So, I mean, it really is about as analog as you get. Even like you have an S model, I have a base, 3.6 liter base, and even they have gone up in price. Like my car is going today 20 grand more than when I bought it. So it,
There's the 997.1. How much is it expensive to do the IMS fix?
No.
You just do it to do the clutch.
So you think that's going to be the next wave? It's like, hey, I want a Porsche. I'm going to buy this cheap one. It's due, what is it, $2,000-$3,000?
It's about $3 grand. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, and honestly, it's not. If you buy a 997 now, one of two things happen. If it has really low miles and doesn't have the IMS, then go and change the IMS. But like, I have 53,000 miles on it. I don't know if the IMS was ever done in mine or not. I'm the third owner. So it could have been done. It could not have been done. But at 53,000 miles, if it's a stock one, I'm not worrying about it.
I think I would disagree with it if I was going to buy that car.
Right.
It would greatly depend on the year, since the IMS bearing changed throughout the production line. But I also don't think that spending $3 grand to do it on a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 car is too much to ask. No. So just
more for peace of mind, if anything.
And then,
exactly.
You do the IMS solution from LN and flat six. Get that bearing done. You never have to worry about that again. You do still have to worry, of course, about bore scoring, but proper oil changes, and driving the car correctly, you're going to make it last a long time.
Well, and also the bore scoring affects more of the 3.8s than it does the 3.6s.
Yeah,
from what I've read.
The weird thing about that, though, is that the 996 3.6 suffers extensively.
Right.
That was the OG, the 3.4, the 3.6. So it does not make sense that a 997 base 3.6 would not suffer the same issues. I think the real issue is the owner population and the number of them that restricts kind of what we see. So as long as it's running right, you're not burning oil, and you're not seeing your left tailpipe getting really sooty compared to the other, like, it's fine. And you should, as long as you're doing the proper oil changes with the proper oil and you're warming it up correctly, you're going to be fine.
Climate plays a big factor too. I mean, you don't have as big a problem in Florida as you do up north.
I think that too is a red herring. Only because that's where we saw it first. So that's where people tend to attribute it. I think people in Florida probably do the same thing of starting the car on a 50-degree morning and letting it sit and idle. And that's the worst thing you can do, right? You get in it and drive. You let the idle come down to 1,000 where it kind of settles. You pull out and you go. You keep it under 2,500 RPM till you're fully warmed up, which I call 200 degrees on your oil temp. Sure. But again, remember, though, I did all this stuff. I ran the proper oil. I changed the thermostat. I put the third radiator in there. My engine still had, bore scoring that was started.
True.
So was it stopped by me doing all those things? Perhaps. It's impossible to know. but I bought the car with 20,000 miles, and when it was torn down, it had the piston skirt, the piston coating flaking off. So who knows? That engine probably would have run 100,000 miles, maybe. It also could have run 12.
Now, what year is yours, Casey?
Oh wait.
Oh wait, okay. So yeah, so you're like me. So really, the IMS issue, like Kevin was like, 05, 06, big issue. By the time they got around to 07, they had a lot of that had worked itself out on IMS.
A lot of it, correct. I
Yes.
agree with that. A lot of it, yes. But again, if it were my car, especially if it was one in for a clutch, I would do it because it's just not that expensive a job.
I agree, especially if you're already in there with the clutch.
And especially when you're comparing it to a damn new engine. Even a baseline rebuild is $40,000.
Yep.
So there's no reason not to spend $3,000 and get that problem solved and done with.
I agree.
Hey, Casey, have you ever heard of this?
Ski? Yeah, that's
Yes.
an Eastern Kentucky drink right there. I like that you're such a good Florida redneck.
It's a beautiful thing.
My wife brought it back from
Indiana?
Evansville, Indiana, yeah.
Nice.
Some cases. And some Grippos.
Oh, Grippos are gross. I do not like
pretzels. The pretzels are so salty.
Yeah.
And barbecue potato chips. And you guys have Big B barbecue or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
She brings all this stuff back.
You can also get Eastern Kentucky, there's Squirt.
Yep.
There's, of course, Ski. There's Ale 81. If you ever had that, that's Winchester piss water. It's actually delicious. What other redneck stuff do we get?
You guys get those big sunflower seeds.
Yes.
I forgot. I think they're owned by Grippo too.
I'm sure.
And then she brought some chocolates from a famous place over there called Libs, which I make fun of her because when we read the box, they actually come from California. And I'm like, oh, they probably came from C's.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, no joke.
Exactly right.
Yep. So, so that's it, guys. That's
good times.
Cool. All right.
Bourbon and Ale 8. Give it a shot.
I love it. All right, guys. Those for listening, thank you very much. Grab our Instagram, Whiskey Watches Wheels. Go to the link tree. All the information's there. We're trying to, keep updating the website and everything. I've been slacking on the Instagram. I haven't had a chance to post as much as I'd like, but I'll get better at that. But if you guys have anything, hit us up. Other than that, guys, peace out. You have a good night.
Later. Peace.